Episode 36, Between Two Wheels podcast, cycling news, commentary, analysis, and interviews from Northern California. I'm your host, one of them. I shouldn't say your host, but I'm one of the hosts, Tyler Janke. And as always, we have Chris Flower. Chris, I'm going to ask you, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
And you did not race with us today. We didn't go down and did Snelling, so you should be doing extra special.
I'm much more rested than you guys, so I'm ready to go.
But we missed you. So.
We did.
I missed you guys.
Yeah, and you just heard chime in. That's Curt Mills. Curt, how are you doing?
Good. I'm doing good.
And you did race today.
I did.
You raced well, I hear.
And you raced well.
Sure.
Well, and we'll get into that later. That's the big one. Okay, so today we're doing another segment of introducing a team that we have out there, and today we're really happy to have Ryan Oakes in my office today with us, joining us on a Saturday night. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to have you. So give us your team name, the whole team name, because everyone's a little different.
Right,
we like to add on to it. What's your team name and where are you guys based out?
I'll stop you. It's Chico Corsa, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. Go on.
Wait, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It's not the first time I've heard that one from Curt.
My bad. I apologize.
The official name of our team is the Amain cycling team. Said A like the letter, as if they were two words, A and then Main. Amain cycling team. We're sponsored by amaincycling.com is the name of the company that sponsors us.
And where are they based out of? Chico?
They are out of Chico.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you get? What's their big sponsorship for you? Is it product? Is it just name recognition? What are they pretty much doing for you guys?
They support us in a lot of different ways. Financially, they're one of our biggest. They're our biggest sponsor. That's why they're the title sponsor. We get they sell a lot of bicycle product on the website, so we get a really good discount on all that stuff. And if there's stuff we need, we can kind of ask, and they can see if they can support us or if they have other ways to support us. So because they're a fairly large, I guess a small company, but fairly large as far as like being a e-com California company. They have a lot of in-house resources, and so all sorts of little stuff that we sometimes need, they're able to help out with, like little stuff like we want an easy up to take to a race. They've got an easy up for us. We want name stickers for our bike. They can print name stickers, that kind of stuff.
Are they primarily a sports oriented e-commerce store? Do they have a brick and mortar store?
Yes and yes. Yeah. So they're actually, the company is 14-ish years old and primarily operates in the remote control industry. So hobbies, I guess, is what we call it. Drones.
I'm familiar with some of that stuff. Yeah.
Drones, RC cars, boats, trains, that kind of stuff. They've been selling that online for 14 plus years. They have a little brick and mortar store in Chico that sells that as well. And then the owner was getting really into bikes, and they thought, wow, this would be really cool to just apply our model to bicycles, and started doing that about just over 4 years ago now.
Oh, that's good.
That's how long they've sponsored your team as well? Or?
Yep. We got in with them just after they launched bikes as one of kind of their big first marketing endeavors. So we've been with them since the beginning of bicycles, I guess. And
their owner, who's that? I don't know. If you
it's fine. He'd be fine with it. His name is Kendall Bennett. He's an Australian guy that kind of transplanted himself to California and has been living in Chico for a long, long time now. And that's where he started his company and where he's had it since. And he does some bike racing, some bike riding. You'll see him at some Sacramento cyclocross races occasionally. He'll be out at Chico Stage Race. I'm sure he'll be there. He comes out on our race rides and stuff. And yeah, he just loves getting on the bike. He loves Zwifting. You might see him on Zwift. I think he's
sweet.
A level 15 or something. Is that a thing? I don't Zwift, so I don't know.
Sounds impressive.
Yeah.
It's like a Dungeons and Dragons type of thing. Right? Level 15. Cool. Okay. What about your other sponsors? I'm sure it's not just, or is it everything kind of funneled through Amain and like what they get, then they pass that on as like a package? Or who else do you have out there that you need to talk about?
Yeah. So we're...
Go ahead and hold that right up.
A little closer.
There you go.
Sorry.
Makes my job easier.
No worries. Yeah. The team is its own separate entity. Amain is one of the sponsors, so we're kind of on our own to get our other sponsors. So they're our primary, like I said, cash sponsor, but we have other sponsors that mostly support in the way of equipment and different things. So Giant has been a big one with us for a long time. They help out with equipment. We're currently doing their shoes and their helmets, and we've been doing their bikes for a while now. We also have a lot of little smaller companies. Actually, some of our Sacramento teammates have helped us get up with Rackin' Road with Hook and Ladder, the restaurant in downtown. So there's kind of some small stuff there, but we get water bottles and cages from Elite. We get clothing support from Jackroo. I'm trying to not forget anybody, but there are others as well.
Yeah. I really like your giant. You guys have had giant bikes for several years, and I always think that's been pretty cool. How do you like the? Obviously, you're going to say good things, but I mean, I haven't heard bad things about Giant anyway.
Well, I've ridden a lot of their bikes. Like I've worked in the industry quite a while, so I was one of those guys who would get a new bike every year, and Giant's been one of the best bikes I've ridden. So it's up there with it. I mean, it is the same caliber of bike as a Tarmac. It is the same caliber of bike as a Trek Madone. It's in the same realm. It's probably not any better, and it's definitely not any worse.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Just high quality race bike.
Yes, absolutely. It does the job day in, day out. It's a good workhorse.
Now, I remember a few years ago, you guys went to, I want to say Valley of the Valley of the Sun. And you took like the Amain you guys had the big Amain bus going.
The RV,
You still got a van outside.
Oh, did you pull that up? We could just park that on there.
That's why the light just dimmed when he pulled in.
Yeah, we that was actually the owner's like personal vehicle for a long time. Gotcha. And he's like, I'm done with this. So they were like, cool, we'll just wrap it and we'll use it for events. And that year we had kind of free reign to take it all over the place.
Is that no longer?
It is no longer. It has been replaced by a more practical Sprinter van.
Yeah, but that van is like ridiculous compared to other teams. Other teams don't typically get support like that. So that is true. Yeah, that's pretty darn good.
And it's not like we're given that stuff. It's just we have the access to it, right?
Yeah.
So like if it's not being used on a given weekend, we're like, hey, can we borrow that? Like, yeah. We do own the kind of janky little van we drive around. That is actually a team van. We purchased that out of our team funds, and so we actually own that.
Curt, Chris, can you look into?
We'll get on that. Yeah, we can line something
I highly recommend a team van. It's really fun.
No, that's cool. Yeah,
Curt, you can maintain it.
The bummer is somebody has to be in charge of it. So like our registration just expired because we're not paying attention to. No one feels ownership personally over the van. So
how does that structurally? Who's that registered to? Maybe we don't need to even get into it.
It probably goes down a very questionably legal path. So yeah, we'll just kind of maybe
saying it on a
I'm
podcast.
exactly.
Sure not affect you at all. I'm sure that's fine. Well, I'm glad it's registered now.
It is. Right? I think.
Just say
registered.
It is.
Yes, it's definitely registered.
It's on the up and up. Yes. Everything's
Things
good.
are really looking good.
Yeah, cool. Let's go through your roster and kind of talk about who you guys. We were waiting with bated breath each day as you were releasing your roster online.
Yeah.
Whose idea was that? And what kind of role do you play with like team structure? Obviously, you're one of the higher ups of organizing. I'd imagine
higher ups. That's how they talk about themselves.
Yeah,
I get referred to as a higher up for sure.
You're in management. What do they call that? Is that a level?
You're a founder.
Is that a level 15?
Yeah, it's like a level 15. Yeah.
I was just gonna say he destroyed Chico Corsa as a club, right? Like you're the reason that club's no longer. And
did you have
Brennan,
a money stake in this, Curt? Why are you so hostile?
He was a founder, I think, of Corsa.
Curt did not appreciate how small Chico was and how many teams Chico had and how all the teams in Chico, each of their names started with Chico.
Yeah, well, in Corsa.
So for years, I just continued to call them Chico Corsa.
Yes.
I remember
Even though they were, obviously you guys have turned into a hell of a team. But so who founded the team? It was you?
Myself, Brennan Percy, and Corey Duran were the three original founders. We kind of decided to start our own team, as I'm sure many teams do. It's like, the current teams that we've been on, that we're on, just don't really align with our goals and what we want to do, so we want to do our own thing. I think it was originally all built around kind of bridging the gap between, we knew there were these Mike's Bikes level teams in the district, and these teams that had retired pros, former pros, guys becoming pro, national caliber guys, right. And then you had a lot of club racing teams and not much in between that wanted to be serious but also wanted to have a life, and didn't necessarily want to be on a professional trajectory. So we were like, we should set out to do this, and we will try and access as many resources as we can to make sure we develop our guys and upgrade them was the big goal. Let's get everybody upgraded. Let's get them to Cat 2. Let's get them to Cat 1. Let's focus on that. Yeah. And not really much beyond that, but get to that point and then see what we can do with it.
How'd your first year recruiting? I mean, it was probably friends or word of mouth, or how did that kind of go about?
It was just almost desperation. Please, if you don't have a team, just sign up. And we were trying to focus on Chico and people in Chico, and so we were very like lenient originally, like, yeah, sure, you've got a bike, have a pulse, and you live in Chico, join the team. Great, fantastic. And since we've kind of like gotten more serious and set tighter parameters since then.
And that's not exactly true though, because your team it's always been guys that were like Cat 2s and 1s. So the
first 2 years we were only 3s and 2s.
Okay, but still,
we weren't like
2s and
if
1s,
you weren't
but that's different than going out to the community and saying, if you ride a bike.
But there was already Chico Corsa, right? So we didn't need to repeat that.
Right.
So, yeah, no, we did want to be a lot more specific, though. It was like, as much as it'd be cool to have a women's team, as much as it'd be cool to have a masters team, there are already places for masters and women and all this stuff, especially in our community that already existed. There wasn't a place for your teen to 20-something male that wanted to give it a whack in the 1-2 field.
Yeah, and we'll leave that. And also when you get a team like that in a town like that, you guys, especially with the Chico stage race where you get some notoriety when you're there, that's good for the younger kids to say, oh, this is a team I would like to get to someday. And if you at least have some parameters, it's not just, then I could use it. It's not as easy to get into as community college. Then, it serves you well, I think, in that matter. So
yeah, and with that, say like if that kid or that, even past a junior is developing up and they don't have an opportunity or the access to, or they're just geographically too far away from the development teams and those teams that can push them where they need to go, we can help out and kind of be that stepping stone. And yeah, we don't have the retired pros. We don't have the guys that know the ins and outs of the highest level of racing, but we know a good bit about it. And we at least know people that we can connect them to and help them kind of put on a good show so that maybe they can launch off of us.
So when that first year, I didn't mean to. You look like you're ready to.
I was just going to ask. So you guys, when did you actually form the team, and how many years have you been together now?
This is our 5th season. So yeah, five years ago now.
Cool. And you've obviously grown since the first couple of years, and it looks like you've also branched out geographically, reached into the Sacramento and Bay Area.
That first year, we ended up actually having a couple guys from the Sacramento area that we raced with and really enjoyed racing with and thought had kind of the same mentality and focus as us. And since then, it's been a couple more guys in Sac. We've got a couple guys in the Bay. So we've definitely spread out, but we still kind of try and stay true to the vast majority of the guys are out of the Chico area. The sponsor is out of Chico. It kind of has a Chico-centric focus to it, I guess.
Cool. They're like the California version of the Basque teams. Only staying to their region, so
Table Mountain. Like that Chico cycling community. It seems like there was already a community there, but
absolutely.
But your team maybe's focused the community a little more on performance and racing. Is that true? I know Rodney Cox has his racing series.
Yep.
Obviously, the Wildflower's been a really successful century for a really, really long time.
Yep.
But I sort of noticed like the group rides up there and so forth. It seems like you guys took those seriously and people started coming out and sort of seeing like racing as an option more. Is that?
Yeah, I guess, yes, that's pretty true. Chico Velo puts on the Wildflower number other centuries, and that's been a huge deal for Chico. Chico's a pretty bike friendly town as a whole. Mountain biking is really popular in Chico. I think what we kind of brought in was let's have a less recreational and more focused opportunity and option. And like you said, kind of show that. The reality is Chico has some really, really fast riders who have never pinned on a number before. A ton of them. Guys that love going and doing 8-hour events, 24-hour events that ride in the dirt, ride on the road, and they love just that epic kind of riding and can hang with us and want to hang with us. And they aren't necessarily the best instructors when it comes to bringing new people up through the ranks because they don't know. They haven't ever, all they know is how to ride really, really hard, which is like a great thing to have. But I think it's kind of nice to be able to, hey, like the wind's coming from that side. So right over here, let's not rotate this direction. We need to rotate into the wind and be able to help and instruct that because that just was never there. So,
yeah.
So your first few years of racing, who was your main guys that were winning races, or were you winning races those first few years?
Our first year, I don't think we even set foot on a podium. We might have, like it was it was, I don't even know how, like, everybody was not taking it quite as serious. We didn't know what our potential was, I guess, and weren't sure, like, oh man, we kind of scraped together some money, you know, we're gonna go race bikes, we've got this, we're just figuring it out. And by the second year, I think was our breakthrough year. We picked up Anthony Ferretti that year. He had just graduated from college. He was going to be moving back home. He wasn't sure if he wanted to kind of start a career and all this stuff. And he decided, you know what, let me just give it one more go on the bike. And he got a job part-time at Dutch Bros. He gave him like a 6-month cannot work list and trained 20 hours a week for like 4 months. And then we started winning races.
Yeah. And to your guys' credit too, you said there was 2s and 3s. And so obviously a bunch of those 3s moved up. Well, I don't know. Several of them. Mm-hmm. So you had some support. So I remember watching you guys, you know, you had Anthony who can all of a sudden turn some results, and you guys would line up at the front for, you know, leading them out. And there was some fails, but but you know, we were talking about this the other week too. It's like Anthony's getting results and you guys are getting some stuff, and it's developed over the last several years where when you guys come to the front, it's not just, okay, you're going to hit the front maybe too early and wind out. It's going to be something's going to come of it, and it's good to see. We like to see that kind of success in a way. So yeah, it's been good.
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay, I think we're done.
And that's a wrap.
No, so Anthony came on your team. Obviously, that was a big help. Maybe we should go about talking about who's on there this year, who returned, and then who your new guys are.
Can we ask who the really, really tall guy?
Yes,
who's that guy? Because he's really nice.
He's really nice, yeah.
It's Josh. Josh Rovner is his name.
Okay.
He currently, actually, I was going to say he currently lives in Occidental. I believe he just moved this last weekend to San Francisco. So he is living in San Francisco currently, originally from New Jersey.
Okay.
And he's been in kind of the messenger world. He owned a messenger company out of New York City and has kind of been traveling and racing all over the place. He ended up, I think, the highest level he was racing at he was actually on the Lupus development team for a while. So he's done some pretty big races.
Did he take like last year off or a year or two? Because
like the last 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. He hasn't been at it for a while. I think it was Bariani 2015. He was out there and kind of hasn't really touched the bike much since, other than recreationally.
He went down in that corner with the oil and just never recovered.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Under the tree, yeah.
Yeah. Sure. This guy's never done that course.
I haven't done that.
Everybody acted like I didn't know what I was talking about, but the right
it seemed made up.
Yeah.
Okay,
I've done that race. I don't remember the oil, but hey.
I do remember that race I did it in the Cat 3s in like 2013 or something like that, 2014. And there is almost like a time-lapse photo from the finish, because it used to have those rollers in the finish.
Yeah.
Of a full width of the field where you just see a bottle in the air, and then you see in the next picture a rear wheel, and then you see a whole bike, and then you see people like diving off both sides of the road, flipping over barbed wire, and something like half the field went down in the sprint because it's just like 2 little bumps right before the finish. It all stacks up into the back of itself.
And you can't cross the white line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever ridiculous enforcements they had, it was bad. Right. Really bad.
Yeah, not good. Okay, so who's returning?
Returners, myself, obviously. Brennan Percy is still involved with the team, but he's currently living in Colorado, studying doing a nursing program. Corey Duran is back again. Anthony Ferretti. We had Joel Holt last year. We have him again this year. That's another Chico guy. We have Robert Lander again. And Fergus Liam, who lives in San Francisco. Yeah. He'll be back as well. And then the new guys we have are Josh, that we already mentioned, and we picked up Jeffrey Morton, or I think a lot of times his actual birth name is Mark Morton. You'll see on his license and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say Mark Morton's been impressive the last couple of weeks. I think he had a good result at Cherry Pie, raced good again today, and maybe was 10th or 11th or 9th. He was up there again. So
no, we snagged him for a reason. He was racing for the cycle sport team last year. And,
10th. Good call.
Yeah, 10th today.
Yeah, I think Cherry Pie was 4th. Is that right?
4th, thanks to Vest relegation, yes.
Yeah.
It's a result.
It's a result. Right there behind the sprint. So, he's getting in it. For being a fairly newbie Cat 2 and new to the team and having basically acquired those results by himself, that's...
Yeah, and you're saying today, Curt, that he was riding pretty smooth.
Yeah, he's just a good wheel. Seems like I didn't know he was a newbie. He seems like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he has a kind of mountain bike background. He got into the sport from high school mountain biking. So
cool.
So the new guys on the team? Where's their riding style and focus? Is it a lot of crit road racing, climbing?
Yeah.
What do you have? Because
we have yet to see I think all of Jeffrey's capacity. We've been doing a lot of kind of off-season epics with him, and he's one of the first ones to top every climb. He's one of the first guys every time we're sprinting for a city limit. He's always in rotation. I don't know what he can't do yet.
Right, yeah. You haven't pressed him yet.
Yeah, we've yet to find out. He's got a sprint in him. He can bunch sprint a bit, but I wouldn't call him a bunch sprinter. He's got some climbing, but he's not a climber. He can probably TT. I don't know yet what he's going to be capable of, or I guess I don't know what he's going to be incapable of.
Is he up in Chico as well?
He actually lives in Lakeport in the Lakeport area. His family's from there, and he is just recently moved to Santa Rosa to go to the junior college there.
Okay, cool.
Tyler, you want to take anything back? You want to edit that out?
I'm sure it's a fine school. It's just a joke, It doesn't mean it applies to everybody, Curt.
So with your team in the past, having done Valley of the Sun, I think we've seen you at Cascade and some of the other big stage races. Do you guys have anything of that caliber that you're targeting this year, or kind of keeping more local?
Yeah, like I mentioned, the team has kind of always had a focus on making sure that we upgrade our guys, which means that going to stage races is really important for a lot of the guys. Most of the team is fairly upgraded at this point. We've only got, I think, 2 guys, 3 maybe. Yeah, 3 that are still Cat 2s. The rest are all Cat 1s at this point. And since we sort of are mostly a crit team, stage races aren't big targets for us. A lot of the guys don't want to train enough to be able to go uphill, and we want to be able to have a beer or 3 in the afternoon after a race and not have to worry about it. So we do like traveling and going and doing that stuff. It's super fun. So we picked Toad this year. We're going to be going to Tour of America's Dairyland as a team.
Yeah,
that'll be a fun one for us.
What time of the year is that?
It is late June, I think.
Okay.
Yes, it is late June because it finishes 3 days before our district crit championships.
The 4th of July.
The 4th of July.
4th of July, which we're excited about. How do you feel about that?
We're really excited about it too. District crit championships is a result that has plagued us the past couple of years. We've always been feeling like we were really close to having. It's something that Anthony's wanted to, a notch he's wanted to have in his belt, and Anthony studied at UC Davis, so it's like kind of
feels like a homecoming.
Yeah, a little in a way. Yeah, so we're kind of excited for it, and we always feel bad because we like racing the Cal Cup, but a lot of guys don't like racing the Cal Cup. They're burnt at that point. So it's been Oakland the last 2 years, and we're like, yeah, this is awesome. And then there's kind of lower attendance. Yeah. So it'd be nice to have like a big competitive mid-season race be the district crit championship race.
Yeah, I think having it at that time of the year, you're going to see a lot more guys that are peaking for it. So
yes,
it's a worthy winner either way, but the field size should be good as well. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Totally.
And I imagine Chico stage race, you guys, is probably a big one for you as well.
Yeah, it is. Chico is one that it's just we can't help but go to it. I can ride 5 minutes to the time trial course and 5 minutes to the crit course from my house. So, and everybody else in town can, and we can host all the teammates really easily. So we will definitely be out at Chico.
What?
Will you guys target Wildflower this year? Because I know previously you guys had, I think you stacked the podium with 3 deep at least.
Yeah.
Deeper. Are you? Is that a race, or is that a race that you'll be doing?
I will probably ride the Wildflower. Yes.
Okay. Just curious. I might be out there.
Last year I rode it on the tandem with my wife.
Okay. Well, I'd appreciate if you did that.
Yeah.
That's Curt's A race, by the way.
Right,
so
yeah, okay.
he's
put
looking
in a
to
different category. So
thin out the herd a little.
Oh, the tandem does.
Yeah,
tandem.
Yeah. That's not fair to race against someone with a one person bike.
Correct. I'll follow him on the descents. But
yeah. So, question then with Chico. You guys are probably forced to split up squad then, since not everyone's at 1. So I think it's a P1 and then a 2 only.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it gives you a chance to win twice.
Yeah, you could put it that way.
Anybody focusing on that? I mean, there was a big debate of whether it's Merc style or TT style.
Yeah.
And
the reality of it is, I think most of our team because a lot of our guys are upgraded. Traditionally in the past, when we're trying to earn upgrades, we've all had really big early seasons. And this year it's like the train's taking its time getting up to speed. So guys are really still just thinking about coming into form. And I don't think Chico is, even though it's hometown race, is a target on anyone's radar. More than anything, it's probably like a platform for the rest of the season.
Right.
So, and racing it in the one category, in the past couple seasons when you've had KHS there and Rally there, it's like, I can't do 400 watts for 20 minutes. So I'm not going to win or come close to winning. And, I'll hang on as long as I can, kind of a deal. You know, it's really fun. It's great to go get 4 days of racing, or 3 days, 4 races. But yeah, not a target, I don't think, for any of our Cat 1 guys. Our Cat 2s, Jeffrey, I think, probably be coming into pretty good form at that point, and he won the circuit race in the 3s at Chico last year. So it's a different ball game in the 2s, but you know, I think he's got maybe the right stuff for it. We'll see.
Have you looked at Reg yet? Are any big teams, or is it more like today at Snelling, where it's just a lot of local strong guys?
In the Cat 1,
Pro 1, yeah.
The Pro 1 race, there are 2 people currently registered.
Oh, well.
Which I don't think either of them are actually attending.
Okay.
Evan Huffman and Corey Williams.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure if KHS or Rally are showing up. But
okay. So, okay. That's interesting. Yeah. So any other big goals for you guys this year then? Toad and no other travel?
Yeah, Toad's on there as, like, I think the vast majority of the team's going to try and make it to that. A couple of the guys have talked about maybe going to BC Super Week. Some of the guys have talked about Tulsa, but I think that's kind of it as far as travel stuff. And then we just have more like in-district goals. Cal Cup, we always love racing the Cal Cup. Being in Chico, much like being in Sacramento, you end up riding in a lot of hot weather, and the Bay Area guys just tend to really hate the hot weather, so it just plays into your favor when you're used to sweltering heat. So we love racing that kind of late season, hot summer, Central Valley stuff.
Have you tried to do anything? Because that's a long season. I mean, we're February and we're already racing a bunch, and that's way into the year. That's a long season. Are you doing anything for Cal Cup to make? Or you just ride all year and kind of sickness happens, and vacations happen, and just kind of go with it?
Well, like I said, it's like we kind of had that slow ramp up into the season right now, and then most of the guys have family and jobs and school and stuff, and I think it because they're normal lives, they get these forced breaks where they got to take time off and end up dropping off a little bit, and they can just build back up. So I don't know, I usually race until I'm kind of
dead,
toasted, and then take a little break and then build back up again. It's usually time for another bulk of races that I want to do, and then kind of taper off again and then build back up for that last bulk. So it kind of, it's a big 3-peak season, I guess.
So and you specifically, how'd you end up doing last year? We were kind of looking at some of your results, and you had some wins. So how'd things go for you?
Last year was a good season for me. I was really focused on earning my upgrade, and being that I'm not a bunch sprinter, it was hard for the team to be of assistance to me. Yeah. So I kind of had to earn a lot of that stuff out. Like, okay, I'm just going to go do this race and give it a go and see how it turns out. So I won a couple of races in the way that I win them best, I guess, or the way that suits me most.
Which is?
Usually off the front is kind of the way I'm going to win a race, or out of a small group or something like that. Not going to be a pack coming to the line. I'm probably not going to be winning a race, but so I won a Red Kite the Bump circuit race out of a 2-man break, and I won the Colavita Cat, I think it was a Cat 2-3 race out of a 2-man break. Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Are you working with anybody, like coach-wise, or do you do that all on your own? Or
I do all my own.
Have you ever worked with a coach?
Well, I worked for a coach.
No, come on. Why can't I ask? I'm curious. Everyone.
You have your own. You have a little bit of a coaching business.
I
don't you?
I do coach people. Yeah. So
then
there you go.
I
worked for. I used to live in the area, and
let's talk about your coaching. But this is how I lead into the coaching business that he's doing.
Well done.
Yes. What's your coaching business name?
Well, I work for athletic camps.
Okay, you work for. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And you worked for them when you were down here, right?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked for Bruce when I was here.
Do you have? How does that work? Is that like people come under him, and then he pushes them out to different coaches, or do they approach you personally?
The latter, yeah. So I kind of follow his template and his model and utilize his resources, and then kind of go find my own clients to coach and work directly with them. And yeah,
is it a lot of local guys, like the Chico area?
Yes, yeah, it's primarily all local people. Yeah,
and you can utilize him as a coaching resource and,
absolutely,
and use his kind of umbrella services.
I do that pretty regularly. Yeah.
Cool.
We get on the phone.
So do you coach yourself then?
Yeah,
are you a tough client?
I've been at this long enough that I know I need to make sure that bikes are fun for me and that it's a balance. So I don't really write a program for myself, but I also have a good feel for like, man, I'm really lacking in. I need to focus on that. So I kind of
you're sprinting.
Yes.
Okay.
My sprinting is okay. It's the bunch
not?
sprinting that's bad, but that's hard to train, right? Like unless you want to ride with 50 people all the time.
How was your bunch sprinting at the Roseville criterium that Curt won? We were trying to think.
Curt didn't bunch sprint.
No. But I was trying to remember that today. You know what I'm talking about? The little, the bunch of people. I don't know. Did you go down in that one? We were trying to remember if you wrecked or
no. Brickler just
did.
Eric.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you guys finished up. You and Curt, and maybe, I know Casey was out there.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. I think Casey just followed me while I chased Curt, and then.
Thank you, Tyler, for using my question for me. Appreciate that.
Was that going to be your question?
Yeah. How did I look up there? Did I look pretty good up there? Okay. 2012. What a good year.
Back in 2012. Oh, yeah, you were wearing red at the time, right? You weren't even on our team.
Right.
Yeah, you should have won, Ryan. What's wrong with you? So Snelling, you did Snelling today.
I did some of Snelling today.
Some of Snelling today. Sad story. And first of all, what was your guys' plan going in there? Did you have any? Was there anybody that you were looking for?
Yeah.
Specifically.
Well, we only had 3 guys at the race: myself, Bob, and Jeffrey. And our plan was, we knew that there were going to be teams there that had more numbers than us, so we were going to be not instigators, just follow stuff if it looked threatening. Kind of feel out what the vibe was going to be in the race. If people were trying to push a break up the road, then myself or Bob or Jeffrey, any of the 3 of us could get into it. And if not, we wanted to make sure that we were going to lead Jeffrey out for the bunch sprint in the end. And if Jeffrey didn't have the legs, then it was going to be for me. So that was kind of the order of plans, I guess. And it early on, it started quickly. You'd see the attacks go, and you'd see that they were not going anywhere, and there wasn't enough wind, and there wasn't enough leash. So I started talking to guys like, "Hey, like don't be wasting your energy trying to get up the road. I don't think anything's gonna go. Like if we have to scramble later, we can, but don't waste energy now." And so we all kind of were just starting to sit in, and then I decided to take a nap on the ground.
That's a hard nap to take.
It was.
So I think and I was saying this earlier, I think I ran into your backside. And so there was a bridge about 2/3 of the way around, and it was really rough, and bottles were everywhere. I know Josh Carling, we said, broke his bike and some wheels.
Yeah.
Some other guys you went down. I was able to slide on my rear wheel and just run into you and not go down, but then we chased and we never caught. But any damage to yourself, your bike?
It's like some blood there.
Just elbows and knees, and I got up and I'm like, wow, that actually wasn't too bad. Like that was a pretty mellow crash, you know? Yeah, I think it was one of the last guys to kind of hit the pile up, so I probably scrubbed most of my speed. I just didn't scrub as much as you.
No, I just got lucky. There was a gap that I had plenty of time to shoot the hole and made it. But did you see what happened? Or was it just like,
no, it was kind of
calling
chaotic.
out names or anything.
No,
you know?
I couldn't point to anything specific other than we hit that bridge, and it is like really chunky, and bottles started going, and I think people were just dodging bottles instead of hopping them or running into them.
Yeah.
And I think that probably caused the overlap of wheels and pushing somebody over, and the chaos ensued. So
it seems like that's an issue in every field every year. That bridge on the first lap is just like a bottle ejection zone, and it seems like by this point in the game, people would kind of have that figured out and maybe work to secure their bottles a little more, or just give a little more space, because at that point in the race, you're not going to win or lose it there unless you crash, obviously. But it just seems like that's a known hazard, and it's an issue every year.
When they even warned us at the start that, told us about the bridge. It's really bad on the outsides. And I found the middle was not so good either. But,
the bridge was even lined in cones on both sides.
The middle was actually worse than especially the right side. But anyways, the official.
So, Curt, you were in there for more than half a lap. Were there bottle issues further on in the race?
It
or
was
did
just
it kinda,
that first lap. We kind of hit it. We hit it a little hotter in that first lap than we did any other. Maybe guys kind of wised up to what had happened the first lap, but after that, people were pretty cautious and people were just hopping like the bumps that were there. Like, I think once you go over it once, you kind of know. At the end in the middle there was a bump. There's a few spots where you just kind of you're just careful. But the first lap was obviously carnage. I was telling Tyler that I heard a crash and then it got really silent behind me, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't good. This is bad." Because when it's silent behind you, there's a lot of people down.
Right. You're gonna be yelling for you to stop, come back,
pace me back up here. No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
I had my headphones in.
Nice. I don't think that's okay.
So
go ahead.
I was gonna say. So I didn't go. I sat on the couch all day.
That.
I missed out on the crash. Luckily. What was the team situation like out there? Was there a lot of mics, a lot of Mark Pro? Who was represented?
A lot of mics.
Okay.
One Willie for Mark Pro.
I think the rest of the team's in the Dominican Republic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tarun I think they had a decent presence out there. Okay. Cliff maybe had 1 or 2, 3 riders.
I mean, it looked like from the results a really big field. So it was just a lot of 1s and 2s, or
yeah.
I want to say
Davis had a number of guys as well.
Davis was probably maybe the second most represented team, I would guess.
Yeah.
So
Stork.
OVCB, Oak Valley Community Bank had 3 or 4. They had terrible luck today because obviously Josh got caught in the first crash. Their younger rider Cameron Hawk got caught maybe the 4th or 5th lap on the climb, just clipped wheels and went down. It looked like pretty hard. Hopefully he's okay.
Tell us about the mailbox.
Oh man.
Maybe you know more about it. You just said you saw it happen.
I saw it happen too.
Oh, you did? Were you following?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. After I wrecked, I chased for about 30 seconds and realized, well, this isn't happening. Decided to ride a lap for fun. Went and grabbed the van, stood in the feed zone, and after the field came through, I figured they wouldn't want us driving backward on the course. Like, I'll just follow the race. And up in the van was a great view out on the field. And
so you will know what happened, but what I saw was
exciting.
I think it was a cycle sport.
It was
specialized rider. Yeah. He went up on like a berm, basically, like you would do on a mountain bike or something, where you're like riding this berm, and then it like kind of ejected him towards like a country mailbox, which was probably fortified with concrete,
4x4, like big legit mailbox.
Yeah, super solid. And Brian could probably pick up the story from here, because to me it didn't look good, but I kept riding because I know there's heroes like this guy that are
was
in the follow cars.
Mailbox still intact?
The mailbox was still there. The bike did not fare as well.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
How did the rider fare?
The rider was laying there, and the medic, or the follow moto immediately stopped and went to his aid and would not let the rider get up. I think mostly because of how catastrophic and exciting the crash looked. He figured he must have destroyed himself and he had to have a broken neck or something because it looked that bad. It
was raced a long time. That was one of the more spectacular launches into a very solid object I've ever seen.
Have you ever seen Super Dave Osborne?
Like launched out of a cannon?
Yeah. Into a wall.
Right.
Sorry to make light of this.
No, I'm hoping, from what I understand, he's okay.
Well, then we're all good.
It was bad enough the moto official would not let him move. He kept him on his back. He was trying to immobilize him. He got the medics coming over.
That's good.
The kid, he was a young guy who had crashed, seemed pretty spry and like, am I alive? Okay, yeah. They're checking, making sure he knew what day of the week it was, all that good stuff, and everything seemed good. He was moving his hands, moving his feet, and it's like, you think I can get up? Like, no, just stay put. So he seemed great. I picked up his bike and I was like, oh crud, he totally just broke his top tube in half. Figured his bars had swung into it. It was a Madone and the bars don't go that far. I was like, oh dang, the only way this top tube broke is if the top tube had smashed into the mailbox. So he hit so hard that the mailbox broke his bicycle.
How was the mailbox?
I didn't ask, actually.
Okay. I bet you it was fine, because the sound was...
It's seen worse. It's those country boys out there with their bats.
Drunk with a...
But it was that same section of the road too. It wasn't to the bridge yet, but it was that same section. And sure enough, this kid, it suddenly, like the group is on the road and this kid's riding in the dirt like, man, what's he doing over there? And it looked like he just saw this sweet berm he had to hit, and he went and rode up the side of it, and he kind of took it off a jump and then nailed a mailbox.
So
That is what it looked like.
Is
It
that-
looked intentional.
That
until they hit
doesn't
the
make any
mailbox.
other sense. Like to me, I can't understand how he was over there.
Yeah, there was definitely a driveway there. I mean, the only thing I can figure is it was the last lap of the race. He was dead tired, probably a little cross-eyed at the back, and probably looked up and realized, oh crap, and had to course correct, overcorrected, ended up in this driveway, riding along down this this little drainage thing, and the rest is history.
Yikes.
And that's on the little downhill section where you're gaining decent speed. You're
right before the
close to
bridge,
40.
so a little downhill.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably close to the fast. Unless wind is playing a factor, probably the closest to the fastest place on that course.
Yeah. Yikes.
He didn't want to hit the bridge.
So wind wasn't a factor today, is what I kind of
Not really.
picking up.
No.
I mean, when you're chasing for 4 or 5 laps,
It was like
By
it would
yourself.
wear. It would be like a wear on you kind of wind, but not like a creative
decisive.
selection. Not
Yeah, it
decisive.
wasn't
And we could talk about the actual race itself. I saw the last 2 laps I think come through, and 2 guys brought. Was it Cam and Thompson?
Justin. Yeah.
Was it a Mike's
Yeah,
bike and a Mike's Dev?
No, it was
Tarun.
Mike's Bikes and Squadra.
Yeah.
Or
okay.
Tarun. Yeah.
And they had 55 seconds. Then the next time they came through, they had almost a minute, but it was like 30 seconds to Gardy. I think that's who it was up there. And then you guys just sucked them all in. So I think it was you at the front, Curt, right? Working.
That would not be true.
And then and we could tell the results here. We finally got him up. So Chris Reichert ends up winning, and from the first corner, I could hear him yell as he won. So
Wow.
yeah, this is hefty. Jeff Linder, Tarun in second, and Willie Myers coming out third from Mark Pro. Pretty solid. Kurt Mills topping in at
Scroll down there.
33rd from Nevada City.
So
Well
it was
done.
a field sprint finish?
Yeah.
Okay.
Congrats to Willie too, because I don't think he had any teammates out there. So that's
No, he did not.
He was just chilling the whole race, and to know that at the end, if it comes together, you got that sprint. That's a pretty cool. I would imagine that's a cool feeling to have. So
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
Although that's a weird, that whole road is so rough coming down to that finish, and you got to be somewhat close to, the first few guys through the last corner. It's 250 or so, almost 300 from the corner.
Yeah.
And a little uphill. So he was obviously, that's a lot of work getting into there.
yeah, just
And
not a
without
surprise
teammates.
that he's there.
No.
Yeah, he said he went about 6th or 7th through that turn.
Yeah.
That was about where he needed to be. So
Impressive.
Yep.
Yeah, impressive. We would still want to talk about, before we could talk more about Snelling and some other ones too, but Paskenta.
Yeah.
I know it's a big deal out in your area.
It is, yeah.
And how'd that go this year? And why did you let a junior win?
that's a great question.
Maybe real quick, just describe what Paskenta is itself, and then we can talk about the actual event.
Paskenta is a unofficial, unsanctioned century/race that occurs every Super Bowl Sunday. If you show up to 1 Mile Recreation Area in Chico on Super Bowl Sunday at 8 a.m., there will be anywhere from 100 to 250, 300 other people there looking to ride this 100-mile route or a part of it. And those that want to are there to race, and the rest are just out there for a great ride. And so it is a primarily flat with a couple of rollers on the backside, single loop. It's not out and back. It actually makes kind of a loop back into town, and it actually crosses the same gravel section of road that you cross when you do the road race at the Chico Stage Race, just the opposite direction.
So
Okay.
do you know how that started? It's been going on forever.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how it started other than kind of what I've heard. But it sounded like originally there were some guys that were going to be having Super Bowl parties in the afternoon and wanted to get out for a ride in the morning before they had their afternoon obligations. And they started picking this route to go to 100 miles. And it just kind of took off and became its own thing after that. I'm not sure what motivated it to grow other than, it hasn't been for a few years, but you used to always have pros show up as kind of an early season opener. You'd have both the Jacques Mains brothers out there. You'd have Ian Boswell come out. Paul Mock. Those guys were all.
Did Paul
previous
Mock ever
Paskenta
win?
winners. I don't know if he ever won.
I don't think he did.
Wow.
Max Jenkins definitely won as a pro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you won?
I have not won. It was on my agenda this year.
So how'd this year shake out?
It ended up being surprisingly windy. Like it normally is windy after you cross the highway and you get out closer to Paskenta once you get across Highway 5. and the wind forecast was pretty low. It was really not very windy in town. And once we crossed the highway, it turned out it was going to be really windy. And from there, it started to split up. A break of 2 went clear, followed by a chase of 3, followed by a chase of 2. And that was kind of the break of the day. And what was left of a field was about 30, 35 guys behind that said, have fun up there. And I was like, I can't have that. I know I've got a teammate up there, 2 teammates, but nobody back here is chasing, so I'll just bridge across to it. So I went across with 3 other people, including the winner of the day.
Well done.
Taking the junior across to the break.
I'm sure your thought then is, just help me out,
Yeah. So we did a sweet 20-minute team time trial to get across and made the catch right before the rollers going into the gravel. Had to encourage Creighton Gruber to stay there because he was doubting himself and not feeling awesome, being 40 miles in and having to time trial for 20 minutes up to a break, knowing he still had half of his day's work yet to go. Yeah. We crossed the gravel, and my teammate Anthony saw that I'd arrived. He knew that he wanted to work for me, and he was just kind of up the road, taking all the pressure off me. So he went to the front and took us through the gravel, took us through the rollers on the backside, took us the next 25 miles. So none of us had to do any work. He pulled the entire group the entire way until he blew up. And that was his job for the day.
Wow.
Yeah. So completely sacrificial. It was very impressive to see him just tow these 10 guys around at 25 miles an hour and not require anyone else to do work. So that Corey and I were both on the same team, could sit in, like we got a teammate doing our work for us. And it was kind of nice. So there were 2 cliff riders in that move, and Creighton and a couple of locals, and who else was in there? Michael Claudio was in it.
He's been in everything this year.
Yeah, he
damn Claudio.
He has. Yeah, and unfortunately, there was one rider from Mark Pro as well. Dave Christensen was there too. Was looking on really good form. And I guess no one after Anthony was done, there was absolutely zero coordination, even though we still had 25 miles of dead flat, straight, windy riding to do with no one being able to go anywhere. So it just became mindless punches of attack and counterattack all the way to the finish. And eventually the 16-year-old attacks with 5 miles to go. And we're all like, everything's come back so far. He's this little 130-pound kid. He's not going anywhere.
You had to coax him along, 40 miles back.
Right.
50.
He had told me about 5 miles prior. He'd come up to me and go, Ryan, I don't have anything left. Is there anything I can do to help you in the end? And I said, no, man, just stay in it. You're good.
Just don't win.
Just sit up when you're before you win.
Yeah. They went up to my teammate and told him the same thing. And the teammate's like, no, just follow me in the finish. You'll be fine. And then he went, and he said he started out like 25 miles an hour, and then 24, and then 23. He came across the finish line doing about 15 miles an hour, pedaling with one leg as the other leg was completely cramped up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry you didn't win. That's good.
Yeah.
I saw he won today in the threes too.
He did.
He's with Team Swift, so he won. I don't know who Madison Titus is, and then our guy Stefan Creason got third. Probably pushing about 40 RPMs.
That is MO.
Yeah, Stefan's stuck in the 10. He has a 10.
Does he really?
And a 55 up front, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he
special.
Those are his climbing gears.
Yeah.
He's unique. So Paskenta, obviously, there's a bunch of people. How was the crowd size pretty good? Because it was good weather that day.
Yeah,
besides, wind out further, but
it was a fair sized crowd. I mean, a lot of families come out just to watch, some rider they know just come out and do the ride and finish, and a number of locals come out and that don't want to participate, that are just involved in the bike community to watch the finish. So it was a pretty fair number of people. It was also the same day that Cyclocross Worlds was going on.
Right.
So we all went to one of the local bike shops that has some beer and coffee and hung out there and watched Worlds and had Belgian waffles and Worlds. Was a great way to wrap up after Paskenta.
Nice.
Yeah. So the trophy, first off,
yes.
Was there a female winner this year?
There probably was. There were definitely women in the race, but I don't recall anyone giving out a female trophy.
The trophy. Does the winner get to keep the trophy for the whole year? Or,
yes.
Okay. And then,
what is the trophy?
Do you ever not get the trophy back?
Yeah, I've always wondered about that. And the years I've done it, there's always a trophy at the finish. So I suppose it always gets returned. The trophy is this extremely unique. It probably originally was a trophy at some point. And it's got a little kind of placard on that front that says Paskenta winner. And it has just had, it's a eclectic collection of just stuff that's been added to it over the years. Each winner adds an item to the trophy every year. So there's a chain ring, and there's a part of a busted tubular wheel, and there's some gravel on it, and there's a little army man, and all this stuff just glued to it. So every year the winner adds something.
Who's responsible for, like, at this point? Is there somebody that organizes it, or
no?
Okay, it just happens on
everybody
Super Bowl
knows
Sunday.
it just
Everybody
happens.
knows.
It is like its own entity.
That is cool.
It is kind of neat. Yeah.
Wow.
No idea how the trophy shows up there every year then?
I know how it showed up this year, just because I know who won it last year, and I made sure to get it from him.
Okay.
But prior to that, I mean, Ian Boswell won it, and then I think he had gotten picked up with Team Sky that year, and I think he had to mail it back. I mean, it was, or left it behind or whatever. So, yeah.
So usually it's the past winner that brings it out. It's not like an organizer that comes out.
No, because there
presents
isn't an organizer. Right. Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's just
Well, who conducts
your
the
winner's
podium
obligation.
ceremony? Who does the podium ceremony then?
Yeah, they don't have one.
Self-selected.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures.
Yeah, there's a picture of the winner.
Yeah.
Usually the dad of the person that won. That's really
true.
excited.
That's what we found out about it. His dad posted something online.
Yeah, a little video.
Yeah, and I was surprised that he won, but maybe he's obviously a strong rider.
Tyler thought it was fake.
Yeah, Creighton is very impressive. He's not like an all-star talent. He's not some kid that's going to be going and winning.
Do you coach him?
Nats? I do not. He's on Team Swift, and he's got great support system there, but he's kind of like just this really hard-working kid that's really focused and loves riding bikes and loves racing.
And that goes a long way then.
Yeah, and I think it just like he's spent a lot of time riding with our team, and we really enjoy riding with him. And he's always one to ask a lot of questions. He listens really, really well. And so even earlier in the season, he was at Folsom, spent his whole day like off the front in his race. One most aggressive rider at Folsom.
It sounds like he's pretty good at telling you one thing and doing another.
Yeah,
too.
I feel like he duped these guys.
Well, I like this kid.
He's
learning to eat early.
Maybe I hope I've learned my lesson. I guess
Yeah.
he doesn't get any extra leeway.
Reminds me of another junior locally that he's been doing this local group ride with us probably for like 5 or 6 years, and he told Chris one day when he got in a break with him that he didn't know the route, so he couldn't take a pull because he didn't know where the next turn was. And I'm like, that kid's been out here every week for like
I think it's
years.
his team ride too.
Yeah, it's his team ride. So it sounds like another one of those kids that's maybe a little further along.
And you guys are dumb enough to buy it. That's good. Next time someone says that to you, just attack. Right?
yeah. No more grace there.
Yeah.
Creighton does live down. He lives part-time with his mom in Chico and part-time with his dad here in Folsom. So you guys will probably see him on some Wednesday night
we
rides.
have. We've seen him on some of the.
He's been on Coffee Republic
and stuff. Yeah, he hits some of that stuff too.
He didn't know the route there either.
What do you know?
Beat Chris in a sprint.
Where does this
after
climb end?
this podcast, no one will ever give him any lenience at all.
Don't trust him.
Well, he won the threes today too, and that's I mean, our two guys, Jeff Scott got 6th there. I mean, he's strong, and I guess there was a break of 3 or so that.
I think there was a break of 5 because Jeff got the field sprint, as far as I understand.
Yeah, so I mean that's a strong showing anyway. Let's get back to finish it up. Just a few of these results that are out there. 35s, 1, 2, 3. Chris Coble, Todd Markells, and Chris Evans. So Coble was also in the P12 field. I don't see that he won, but
he just wanted to get a lot of miles.
Yeah, he was short. 45s, Chris Ott, Rick Morgan, Andrew Adelman.
That's the 45 1 2 3.
Yeah.
Who's Andrew Adelman ride for?
Cortec.
Okay,
there you go. The women, P12, Melanie Wong, Eleanor Velez, and Ivy Audrain. Don't know who she is. That's
she was
none of the only
first rider.
Okay, well, it doesn't say what team it is here. Teams
but
Bikes.
I don't know that she rides from this year, but in the past she was with them.
Any other notables that you want, little nuggets you want to pass along from your race? Either one of you guys for today.
Did anybody else double up Masters and
that's a big day
afternoon race?
I saw Aaron Patterson. Is it Aaron Patterson?
For Pete's
was in the Pro 1-2, and he had got 6th or so earlier in the day.
Oh, okay.
I don't know I don't think he finished I don't know what happened. He might have been part of that wreck too. So, I'm sure there were some other people. That's just a long day.
It's a long day. It's an impressive effort, though.
It was. I'll say the field sizes were good. So we've been commenting about the field sizes.
Yep.
Again, today was. Snelling's always able to draw, but it's impressive how well it draws for the location.
Right.
Yeah.
75 or so
minutes
in the
from
P12.
the highway. Like it's
Right.
Yeah.
It's just, it's similar to Paskenta. It's just
Yeah.
everyone knows to show up to that race
Right.
for whatever reason. And
the unofficial season opener. Like nobody told you that you all needed to show up this day, and they all do.
Correct.
I think the weather helped too. I mean, it was
30 degrees.
Yeah. Well, the morning start was probably a little rough, but I think the afternoon was sunny and high 50s, thereabouts.
Yeah, it was actually comfortable. Shorts and just arm warmers.
Yeah.
I had an undershirt, but when I sat on the side of the road waiting for the keys to the car, the Curt was still on the road for 2 laps. It was a little uncomfortable at that point, but it's my own problem.
Not enough to mention it again.
Did I mention that? Have I mentioned that before?
A couple times.
Okay. Well,
I think you had to huddle behind a sign, is what I heard, like a road sign for shelter.
Yeah, Andrew Schmeezy and I did. He was caught up in that as well.
Speaking of which, Andrew, at some point he was riding through an almond field, as only Andrew would do on like lap 4 or 5, and everybody sees Andrew riding through the almond field. Like, what's this guy from Team Mike's Bikes doing, riding through an almond field?
Well,
Did he have a camera with him?
I've got the story actually on that.
And
well, he was with us, and we were so close to connecting and just not making it. And then one guy came on and started taking these heroic pulls. They were just shattering our group. And Andrew got pissed off, so he took a left at some point. And then later on, he's like winding through these trees, and he's like, I don't think I should be here when some local guard dog starts chasing him.
Oh, yeah.
He dished out at like a pack of like gummies or something like that.
So he's prepping for the Grasshopper series.
Definitely.
I don't know. It's a lot of bees out there today, too.
Lots of bees.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know.
They kind of released the bees to pollinate the blossoms.
Yeah, they were attacking Andrew as well.
Sure.
Anything else from Chico that you guys, your team? And Bob finished.
Yeah,
and he looked like he was a little knackered.
Who did Bob let Chris Reichert win?
Bob did let Chris Reichert win.
He let you beat him too.
I did beat Bob today. Yes.
And you also let Chris win. Yes.
But he also let Chris Reichert win.
Yeah.
So
yes.
He looked tired.
It's a South.
I was tired. Yes. Yes.
Good work though. Okay.
Are you guys sponsored by Or Not at all, or do you have a?
Yes, we are sponsored by Or Not.
Okay.
Do they do kits? What do they do for you guys?
Vests.
We get kind of some outerwear, vests. We get socks from them.
Okay.
They liked our kits, and they were like, "We're gonna make a sock that looks like your kits." They made a sock they call the Amain sock. So
yeah,
it's available on Or Not's website if you want to look like us.
Nice. They always have good looking stuff, including your sock.
Yeah.
But I'd feel weird wearing it.
Right.
It is a nice looking sock.
Who makes your kit? They do?
It's
or
Jack
Roo does. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like those?
Yeah.
Put them on the spot. We always like to see if anybody will bash their sponsor.
I was wearing their road suit today in the race, and
did it hold up?
Yeah, it did not.
Jealous.
I was thinking about you after you mentioned how ripped up yours got.
Right.
I have ripped up a skin suit, and this is a road suit, which I think is a little thicker material anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I kind of did a belly slide and got up. I was like, dang, this thing is just dirty, and that's it. I'm
nice.
very excited about
What's the
that.
difference between a road suit and a skin suit then?
A road suit has pockets in it, and it usually has kind of a gap in the front and a full zip, so it ends up feeling like a jersey in the summer. If you take it all the way off, a guy can go to the bathroom really easy in it.
So we need that's more like the San Remo then. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I
think the San Remo is just extremely delicate.
You can actually go to the bathroom really easy in any kit.
That's true.
In it, yes. So that's true.
It's a bit of a mental block to get over it, hurdle at least to get over to do that, right?
It doesn't matter if it has pockets.
I think your triathlon background maybe helps out with that.
Wait, I didn't know about this. You have a triathlon background?
I don't.
Well done then. Chris has a triathlon feature, not just a background.
I've completed one. I think that's plenty.
Yeah. So you're down here today.
Yeah.
What's your next few races? You heading back up? First of all, you heading back up to Chico in a few days here. You spend the weekend down here. We really want to know what's up. Where are you going to be tonight? Your wife's wondering too.
Yeah. I'm staying at my parents' place in Cameron Park.
Okay.
This evening, my wife's brother is going to be back in town, or is back in town, I guess. They recently moved to Idaho, so we're hanging out with them all day tomorrow, and then work on Monday. So driving back tomorrow night.
And then what's your next?
Madeira.
Okay.
You guys are doing Madeira. Okay.
We are, yes.
You bringing a whole team out there, or just a few of you?
We will bring the whole team, and it's I guess like we talked about. Well, talked about Chico being a nice platform for the rest of the year. Madera is a nice platform for Chico. So
Yeah.
you always use races to train for the races, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think you guys get an extra day of racing if you're doing the P1 too, right? You have an uphill time trial.
They got I think they call it the Ben Hur uphill TT. Yeah. So
have you done that before?
I've done it once.
That TT and the
Yes.
as well.
Yeah, the TT once. It's fairly short, 3-4 miles, something like that. I made the mistake doing it on a road bike. I figured, uphill TT, you do this on a road bike, and the first 2/3 is rolly, slightly gaining elevation, and you'd be way better off on a time trial bike for that part of it. And then the last third is a steep climb. But you're like kind of rolling along, descending even a little bit in the first part of it. And then
No, Madera is that next weekend?
Yeah, it is next weekend.
So maybe we'll hold this podcast to be put out after, so that your secret there won't be thwarted. People, everyone go out with a TT bike because you can't figure that out.
You can publish that. It's safe. I do not recommend a time trial helmet if you have a visor, though, especially if you're sweaty. Like I sweat a lot because I hit the climb, and the visor, like the sweat in the face, I ended up riding and ripping the visor off and like stuffing it under my skin suit because I just couldn't see, and it was pretty bad. So
I would have liked to have seen that action.
Yeah, it was terrible. I came across the line like crying almost, like from the sweat and salt in my eyes. So
that's a time trial. How many stages? 4 out of 3 days.
4.
Okay,
Yeah.
So that'll be good. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
New time trial too for the regular time trial.
Yeah, that's what I heard. It doesn't really matter to me, I guess. 'Cause I
Yeah.
don't really care, but
Mercs or TT stuff.
I think TT bikes are allowed. Yeah.
What's your take on that? TT?
I'm not a time trialist. I got beat up a lot on that thread.
Did you took the view of Mercs?
Yeah,
you wanted Mercs for Chico.
Yeah. I always advocate for developing riders and junior racers, and I think that time trial bikes are a big inhibiting factor for a lot of those people. And I understand that you can get cheap TT bikes and you can train on them, but also I don't see the point in focusing on spending that much time on a TT bike to race it in the district 5 occasions you get to a year.
See, I don't think that that's a bad take. Everyone has their own reasons for it. Well, he's saying getting beat up on it, and I don't think that, some people that just don't like because some of the takes on there were simply just, you shouldn't win. I don't know. It seemed a little odd, but that's reasonable, I think.
And I'd concede too that the pro race should absolutely be full TT bikes. I mean, there's pros, right?
Yeah.
They brought a van with a bunch of TT
what about like
bikes
Masters 1, 2,
If you bring
3?
a van, that should be the.
If you bring a van,
Yeah.
that should be the requirement.
I agree with that.
I think
But like
some
lower
people got a
category
little
5s
emotional,
racing,
though, yeah.
they're make it Merc, sure. Who cares?
Yeah.
Shouldn't matter.
I don't have a problem with that. I think though, if you have a 1, 2, like the Masters guys, I mean,
It seems to me,
Honestly,
I
I
don't
don't
race
give- I don't
Masters,
care,
but it
actually.
seems like a lot of the Masters
they seem to be the worst.
very interested in time trialing,
Yeah.
and so
I agree a lot with Ryan because I don't have a time trial bike. I think he had a really good take.
I do have a time trial bike, but I don't think it serves. It might be
Probably slows you down.
Yeah. Wait, are you supposed to be? I don't know. It's all stupid. Well, Ryan, thank you for coming in today.
Yeah,
anything else you want to say about your team? How they can get if people want to follow you? I know you guys have a social media. Out there. Where would they find you guys?
On
at?
Instagram and Facebook are our main areas. You can find us Amain Cycling Team in both channels. We try and keep it fun.
Yeah, you do. I saw you had a website too, but it didn't look like it had been updated recently.
We just don't really pay much attention to it.
What's the deal with that?
Everybody's on.
What's up with that?
Nobody's navigating to our website, so
Yeah.
and we basically turn the website into a social feed anyway, so it just duplicates all our content from Instagram and Facebook anyway. So
All right. Well, so you can find him out there. Look for him. We'll post those also in the show notes, so you guys can just click on that and get. So thanks for coming in today. Hope you heal up just fine. We'll be seeing you at the races, and people out there cheer on Amain Cycling because they're a bunch of good guys. Chris, do you have anything else to add before we?
No, I have nothing. Sorry.
It's okay. Your fans are going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Kurt,
Leave 'em
anything
hanging.
from you?
No, just Amain. I think the progression you guys have made has been really impressive the last 4 years, and it's probably the team that's risen the most that I've seen in the P1-2 ranks. So congratulations to all your guys, and great job.
Yeah, and some nice people. There was a race a few years ago. It was after the finish. I actually yelled at Anthony about something, and then I went up and apologized, and he was just, I'm saying this because he was so nice, and he didn't rip me apart for it. We had a good conversation, and I really appreciate that. I'm a dumbass, and I say some stupid things after some races. So
it's racing.
No, but he was a really nice guy, and you guys have been nothing but that. And Curt had said on the ride up here that he was going to kiss your ass all night here. So I thought I would do something.
Why would I do that?
Blow wind up his skirt or something like that. All right, so thanks, everybody. Go ahead and give us a like if you want, or follow us, or share the show around, and thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.